let's breathe. So place hand below the belly button and then a hand above that. Kind of wiggle those shoulders up and down. It's called the Lymphatic Shoulder Shuffle, to move those fluids a little bit. And you can go a little bit slower if you like, okay? You don't have to go fast. And then roll them up and back behind you. And just kind of wiggle the body a little bit, soft bend in the knees. Nice tall posture if you're seated on the chair. Again, away from the back of the chair. We're going to breathe in, let the belly rise, in the chest probably too. So breathe in, belly big. And as you exhale, just let everything kind of withdraw, release, let go. Let's do that again. Breathe in, belly out. And slowly, slowly exhale. Soft bend in the knees if you're standing today, okay? And again, breathe in, belly big. And exhale. One more. Here we go. Breathing in and exhale. All right, if you're standing, kind of look at your feet. Mine are kind of going out to the side here. What I want you to do for this first posture is called arm circles. We're going to bring the heels more out and the toes in just a little bit. Same thing seated on the chair. So you're going to kind of feel it driving up into your hips when you do that. Might feel, a little kind of strange sensation because we don't normally stand this way. Well, I don't normally stand this way. And then we're going to take our hands, fold the fingers into the pad of the hands. Let me come up to show that, just in case you're not seeing that, to fold the fingers into the pads of the hands. And then what we do, we have the top of the hand aligned with the forearm. So you don't kind of go around with cocked wrists here. So nice in alignment. So that's the position of the golfer's grip. Again, toes in, heels a little bit out. Now, it's not like really pigeon-toed, but just a little bit, okay? Now, we're going to fold those fingers, thumbs up, and then kind of squeeze those elbows into the side body so you feel an upper body contraction of the musculature. From here, always do things between the easy and ouch. If you find one side's not going to be able to do this, just do one side at a time. But we're going to bring the arms out into a letter T. I have my thumbs up to begin with, but you know what? Take the thumbs and turn them to the front of the room. From here, we're going to draw circles in front of you and back behind you, really squeezing the shoulders. And eventually, now maybe you can go a little bit faster, but you're going to do that super squeeze. And you may feel yourself oscillating, kind of going back and forth from the hips to the shoulders. So this is one of the postural alignment things that we do to lessen back pain. It's taken from Pete Igasku, who is a Marine from Vietnam War. He's a physical therapist, and he figured all this stuff to lessen pain. So we kind of incorporate some of that into our class. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Now shake it out, bend those knees, maybe move the feet a little bit, move the whole body, and then we're going to go back into that position. So again, heels out a little bit, toes in a little bit, and then kind of stand up, sit up nice and tall. Golfer grip hands, go back to that letter W, shoulder squeeze, thumbs up, arms out into a letter T. So to begin with, we had the thumbs forward. So let's take the thumbs towards the sky and then back behind you. Now you're going to draw circles behind you and forward. This might feel a little challenging. It might feel like extra tension going on, and if you need to do one at a time, that's perfectly fine, okay? Again, do what you can with what you got. Go at your own perfect pace today. I'm going to go a little bit faster. Eventually, you try to work up to 40 rotations, and that takes a little bit, okay? Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out. Very good. Now bring your feet back into pointing towards 12 o'clock, whether you're seated, whether you're standing. Let's interlace the fingers in front of your chest and then push them away. And then if you can, let's raise them up overhead, wherever you can go. Keep those arms straight if you can. Ooh. I can kind of feel my pelvis kind of lifting out, or my spine lifting out, my pelvis here. This is a nice for elongating the spine. Again, keep it between easy and ouch. Bring it back to the front, in front of your chest. Press it away. Very good. And then shake those hands, bend those knees. Shake a little bit here. Let's just do a little detoxing before we kind of get down to the floor. And we're bending the knees, pressing the middle of the foot, the entire foot into the floor. Whether you're seated whether you're standing. Now, if you're seated, maybe you lift the heels up a little bit to get that little bit more of a bounce going on here. Let's take the arms skyward, shake it up, removing lymphatic fluid when we do this, and turn it to the side. Bring it back to the center, over to the other side. Again, take breaks when you need to. Back to the center, and then bring those arms, kind of flappy arms, palms down. That's good for carpal tunnel. Still bending the knees a bit, and then palms up. Ooh, feel the stretch in those wrists there. Very good. And let's just kind of swing the arms. So yeah, we're doing a little bit of Tai Chi, a little bit of warm up from the Tai Chi class. That's okay. We're just kind of getting the, let's see, lubrication in those shoulder joints, the elbows, the knees, the ankles, the hips. If you can, tap the shoulders, a little extra, a little bend in the elbows. Again, you're going at your own perfect pace today. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. And just let those arms kind of dangle there. Very good. We're going to come down to the floor or get comfortable in the chair. So I'm going to come over to my chair. I'm going to move my blanket off. I'll use that here later on. And again, I use the chair to come down to the floor. We're going to start off in constructive rest posture. So try, if you're seated in the chair, try not to be like way back in the chair. You're a little bit more forward so you can engage those tall posture muscles. Muscles. Can't talk today. Oh, well, you know what kind of day that's going to be, right? So I got my block and my yoga strap close by too. So kind of locate where that is to where, you can just kind of grab that as we progress with our floor and our chair versions of the exercises. So constructive rest posture. Man, this is a good one for releasing the spine, whether you're on the couch or the bed or here on the floor. You're going to lie on your back. Ooh, my back already popped. You can already feel it going. Yep. So I have scoliosis, retrolysis, which means a twist in my spine. Also, disc degeneration, bulging disc, what else? SI joint disc, and a little bit of osteopenia. So lots of good stuff going on. This does not feel comfortable in my body. So I have to grab a wrist and pull the shoulder up and away and replace it back on down and do the other side. And then it feels a little bit better in the body. Now, sometimes my nose is looking at the back of the room. So what I do is I take my hands back behind my head, tuck my chin in towards my chest, elongate that back of the head away from my shoulders so it feels more in alignment. Now, if you've got excessive kyphosis, this might not be what you need to do. You may want to take your yoga blanket, place it underneath the shoulder, the back of the head, wherever the upper body and the back of the head lie, and maybe do a little rolling of the blanket to make it feel more comfortable, okay? Again, constructive rest posture, if it doesn't feel nice for the back side of the body, you may have to walk your feet towards your behind, roll up, and re-roll your spine on down to where it feels better for lying on the floor. Very good. So we already did the breath, but what we're going to do now is big toe holds. You're going to grab your yoga strap, whether you're seated in the chair or lying on your back. And I'm going to take the halfway place of my strap, of my whatever device I have, lift a foot up and place the strap along the bottom of my foot and extend it up into the air. Whew, that feels tight on this side today already. You can do this without the gear, so it's a flexed foot. Hands maybe back behind the thigh. You might be feeling lots of contraction in that belly of the hamstring, back of the leg. But what you're going to do is kind of notice where it feels comfortable in the air here. I notice there's a lot of new names in the room, so we're going to a little bit more explanation here. Flex the foot, toes towards you. So for big toe hold with the yoga strap, it's a bone building posture to help us ease back pain, plus build bones. We're going to pull on the strap. And then we got to make it even more contractual by bending the knee and pushing that foot away. You may feel the low back firm into the floor. You rest on the back of the heel with the leg extended out in front of you if you're seated here on the chair. It's a very much of a vigorous posture. So what I mean by that, you're really pulling, you're really pushing into the foot. You're gripping so strong, you're starting to feel your fingers ache, possibly. Now, you might feel this in your forearms, your shoulders, your upper back, because you're pulling and pushing into the strap. We have to stay in the yoga posture 30 seconds to a minute 12 seconds to get the bone building benefit. So when you contract those huge muscle groups, that stimulates bone growth. But your hands may be complaining. Well, that's probably good for increasing grip strength. But sometimes what folks will do is bring the hands up the strap a little bit and then wrap the strap around the wrist, then hold in this contraction energy. You're still, it's a little bit more firm because you got that strap wrapped around your wrist, yet it's holding it a little bit different. You're still increasing grip strength, still feeling it in the calf. If you're feeling it in the back of the knee, bend the knee a little bit, but you're going to feel it someplace else, and just breathe. Listen to that breath go in through the nose and out through the nose. All right, so the other foot, let's tap, tap, tap the other foot. Little vibrational energy there, and let's bring the knee out to the side, half of a windshield wiper. We're using this as a counterweight because we're going to take that leg that's in the sky, drop it out to the side. Woo! Again, top of the foot aligned with the ankle, shin, the knee. You're pulling and pushing into the strap at an angle here, so big toe hold, leg out to the side, getting into the nook and cranny of that hip ball socket joint. It's a good thing we did that little bouncing earlier just to kind of lubricate the hip, the knee, the ankles, all that good stuff. So that was a nice little preparatory movement to do for this movement. Definitely, definitely. Again, you get to hear me talk for this 30 seconds or so that we're here enjoying, hopefully not enduring, but enjoying the yoga posture. Woo! Oh my, feeling it in the forearms for sure. Oh my goodness. And again, if it's too strong, what you do first is you listen to the breath going in through the nostril tips. Belly expands and then exhale. Make a little noise in the back of the throat. Now, if that doesn't help, you back off your yoga posture, okay? Again, keep it between the easy and ouch. Okay, now we're going to bring everything back to the center. Release the strap. Oh my gosh. Clap your hands. Oh. Bring some circulation back into the hands. A little warmth. This is great for arthritis, osteoarthritis. Kind of rub on your hands like you're starting a fire or making meatballs, okay? Either way. Yes, we got to do the other side. I bet you thought I forgot. No, I did not. Other side. Foot into the strap, strap into the foot, however that goes. And then kind of notice here where it feels comfortable in the air. So this one feels more comfortable away than closer to my body. And then I'm going to adjust my strap while I'm here. Trying to make it even though that probably doesn't work. All right, now I'm going to engage into the big toe hold. So I'm going to pull on that strap, bend my knee a little bit, and then push the strap away. Woo! I feel that low back firm into the yoga mat. Again, I'm resting on the back of the heel if I'm doing this seated in the chair. Toes towards the heart center. Again, pull and push. And again, if you want to have a different grip with this, bring the hands up the strap, wrap them around. Or you know what? There's another strap. It's about $20. It's called the stretch out strap. It has loops all throughout the length of the strap. And you just slide your hand into the loop to hold the yoga strap. So it's a nice alternative way to use a cloth strap. It's not good for Friday's class because we use the buckle on the strap for Friday's class, which is the fall prevention class, because we try to strengthen the hip musculature with various variations of clam exercise, seated on the chair. Whew. Somebody's car is beeping outside. It's not mine. It's probably my kiddos. I can hear that. Okay. Well, hopefully y'all can't hear that. And again, let's take the other foot. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. That other foot. And drop the knee out to the side. And then the leg that's in the sky, drop it out to the side. So why do we drop the knee out to the side? So that that opposite hip doesn't roll off the yoga mat and you go a little too deep into the posture. So when I notice that opposite hip rolling off, that means I need to kind of back off the pose just a little bit. Are you pulling and pushing into the strap? That's my question. Woo, you probably are. Again, take breaks when you need to, but if you can, please stay in the posture. This one, especially for bone building, breathe in, breathe out. Again, inhaling and exhaling. Keep breathing. I'm feeling it in my forearms. Are you feeling it in your forearms? It's like, whoa, yes, indeedy. Can y'all hear the thunder? Man, it's getting really loud outside too. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I do have noise cancellation going on in the recording, but sometimes it gets pretty loud. All right, and then let's bring everything back to the center. Yay, release the strap. Yay, foot comes back on down. Clap the, oh, my hands are stiff. Woo! Get some feeling into the hands. Beautiful. Okay, so the next one is pigeon posture, but we got to work up to it. The way we worked up to it is, you're going to take one leg, bring it into the air, shake it. Shake that leg, wiggle that leg, whether you're seated, whether you're lying here on your back. And then here's two options. You can cross at the ankle bone. For some folks seated, that's probably a nice option, but you're going to probably want to use your strap, put it underneath the bend of the knee, because then we have to bounce, do the piriformis bounce. You would, take the strap and bounce the hip. Or if it's available, you slide the leg on top of the thigh. Make sure that ankle's not knobbing your thigh, okay? And then I got to find my yoga block. For those of us lying on our back, if you can't quite reach your hand to kind of wiggle the leg, you can use your yoga block to kind of push it away there. So we're warming up the piriformis muscle. Sometimes that sciatic nerve is entrapped in the piriformis nut muscle, or like laying on the side of it, or kind of caught up in the pelvic notch. So we're just kind of doing a little preparatory work before we go into reclined pigeon. So I like reclined pigeon of all the pigeons that we do for soothing that sciatica. So right now we're just kind of flossing that sciatic nerve. It's all good stuff. I hope, though sometimes it's spicy. It can be really spicy, okay? All right, so with that bottom foot, I'm going to make the top leg still. I'm going to tap, tap, tap that bottom foot, whether you're seated, whether you're laying here on the floor. Let me move my strap a little bit. And then I'm going to push that bottom foot into the yoga mat. So I'm doing the contraction energy with the bottom leg. Top leg, toes towards the knee, so your calf is contracted. Squeeze both buns. And if you're seated, you're sitting up nice and tall, and you hinge a little forward. Maybe the hand on the leg, hand on the top of the ankle. It's going to be spicy. Just know that, okay? Those of us lying on our back, again, squeeze both buns, take that yoga block or hand, push that top leg away as you're firmly pressing into the bottom foot. So we have some nice contraction energy going on here. Again, might be spicy. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, sometimes that deep belly breath makes it more spicy. So just know that might happen. If you need to back off, you always have permission to back off the yoga posture, okay? Woo! Stay here just a few more breaths, shall we? We shall. Breathe in. Press into that bottom foot, wherever you are, toes towards your knee, whether it's at the ankle, on top of the thigh, and then release everything. Relax everything. Kind of relax the foot, bounce a little bit, kind of get that contraction energy released a little bit. Bring the leg up into the air, shake it, wiggle it, bring the foot down. Let's do a windshield wiper while we're here. Now, if you're seated on the chair, you can step your feet on the chair, the balls of the feet. So you have a little height going on here, but the rest of us, let's take the leg that's closest to me, the one that we just shook. Let's drop the knee out to the side. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll take that yoga block, place it underneath so it doesn't come all the way down. I'm on that side of the foot. Now we're going to take that top leg, drop it towards the bottom leg. Woo! So you have a little low lumbar twist going on here. You don't feel as much seated on the chair. So the chair versions are not the same feeling sensation as the lying on your back. But remember these, because you can do this on the couch or the bed or some other elevated surface if you don't like to get down to the floor. Some of us don't know if we're able to easily, without pain, get up off the floor. That's why I use the chair for that. From here, bring the top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Now we're going to do the other side. So bring the other leg up into the air, shake it, wiggle it. This one doesn't shake and wiggle as good as the other one. I don't know why. Feels a little stiff today, okay? Then I'm either going to take that shaky leg, bring it on top of the ankle and the knee out to the side and, wiggle the leg, or slide it up on top of the thigh. Again, that ankle's past the thigh. And you can take your hand and bounce it. Now, if you're seated, you pull it towards you and let it drop, because you don't get much bounce going on with your behind on that chair. So, it works gravity in a different kind of way. And again, you can use your yoga block to make it more bouncy. And don't get too vigorous, okay? Some of y'all are like bouncing like crazy. No. Just get a little movement going on there in that hip complex, okay? So it's like you're kind of prepping the muscle for the work that's happening in just a bit. Again, these are yoga postures to help ease pain out of the body, okay? Now, we're going to make everything still. Then we're going to tap, tap, tap that bottom foot, whether you're seated, whether you're laying here on your back, and then firmly press that bottom foot into the floor. You might feel this little traction energy happening. Top toes, point them towards your knees. You activate that calf. Squeeze both buns. I usually say squeeze top bun, but sometimes we can't isolate one bun versus the other. So just squeeze both, okay? And again, if you're seated doing this is a spicy posture. You're going to really sit up tall and hinge forward. Try to keep your ears aligned with the tops of the shoulders. So you're not dropping your chin towards your chest or looking towards the sky. Everything's moving as a unit. Maybe hands are on the leg, the foot. Those of us laying here, maybe you're taking that block and pushing the leg away. Woo! Squeeze both buns, bottom foot firm, firm, firm into the floor. We got to stay here a little bit, just a little bit. And you know what? Breathe. In and out. Feels a little spicy here. Notice if one side feels different than the other. Those of us with back challenges typically feel this more one side versus the other. I know I'm feeling my sinuses just like clogged up here, laying here on the floor. So there you go. Woo! Okay, relax everything. Yay. Bounce that top leg a little bit. However you want it, or pull it towards you, let it drop. There's a little bit more play with the pelvis when you do that, when you pull it towards you and just release it. So just kind of notice what you notice here. Then take that top leg up and off and shake it, wiggle it, shake it some more. Wiggle it some more, and then release that foot down to the floor. We're going to do the windshield wiper on this side. So whatever leg you had it on top in the air, drop it out to the side. Now I don't need that block underneath on this side. It feels different in my body. And then take that top leg, drop it towards that bottom leg. And so, you may notice that opposite hip rolling off the yoga mat a little bit. Again, that little low lumbar twist. You come up on the balls of the feet to do this seated on the chair. It's not as twisty as it is when we're lying here on our back. Just kind of know that. The seated version doesn't feel the same as the lying on your back version. I like to cue for both because, I have folks that want this for easing back challenges, but they're kind of intimidated by getting down to the floor for whatever reason, okay? And that's fine. I like to cue both. So some folks will do some of the stuff seated. Some will get down to the floor. They'll do kind of a mixed bag, okay? Now from here, woo, belly button towards your spine. Bring the top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. And let's do notice posture. We didn't do it yet. Whoops. We're going to take our legs and extend one leg all the way down. You're resting on the back of the heel if you're doing this seated on the chair. Doesn't, again, feel the same when you're doing this lying on your back. And then extend the other one. And I kind of shake my legs, shake my hips, shake my shoulders, and I notice what I notice. So I feel kind of still tight in the hip complex, and one leg is more into the floor than the other, again, because of my issues, right? And I feel really kind of congested in the bottoms of my shoulder blades. Again, that's where my spine starts to twist and shift. So you may notice some things going on here too. All right, we're going to contract the belly button towards the spine. Bring one foot back onto the yoga mat, then the other. And then if you're lying on your back, you've got SI joint dysfunction, or if you have pain when you roll over from one side to the other when you're sleeping at night, that probably means your SI joint is out of whack. Mine is. So I lift up first and then turn. Woo, that's a lot better on my spicy back. Come over onto my side, and then I'm going to take that top leg, extend it, hand that's in front, press into the floor. And I've got a little dizzy issue, so I kind of stop here at the midpoint and just breathe. And then you can continue to come up to seated. My hair is probably doing crazy things, right? Right. And goodness, I've got air bubbles escaping. So whenever you do twists, just know air can escape. That's air quotes on that. I do not feel comfortable sitting on the floor, so I take my yoga blanket and I have folded it into like a long skinny triangle, and then I will fold it into thirds to make kind of like a raised edge happening. And so I take that back behind me, and then I'll sit on that raised edge. So that allows, that feels so much better. That allows my pelvis to tilt forward, and I feel like I can breathe a little easier. Again, those of us with scoliosis or some of these back challenges, sometimes sitting in a chair, sitting on the floor, can make us feel kind of like curved towards the floor. So sitting on kind of an edge of a pillow, a folded up blanket can kind of open that up, have easier breathing. Now I'm feeling this in my right knee, so I'm going to switch the feet. And in fact, I might take my, oh yeah, I have my yoga block underneath that knee, again, because of my hip business that's going on. So from here, you're away again from the back of the chair if you're doing this seated. You can also do these standing. I'm not going to cue the standing, but I'll cue the seated versions today. From here, we're going to do unsupported twist. So remember we did the golfer's grip, that kind of thing. Well, forget the hands, but we're going to squeeze the shoulders, squeeze the elbows into the side body to where you feel that shoulder squeeze, the upper back squeeze. And then from here, the unsupported twist means we don't take a hand to an opposite leg and twist. That's called a supported twist, a levered twist. Those of us with back challenges, you shouldn't do that because you can make more pain happen. We don't want more pain. So squeeze the upper back musculature. That strengthens, lessens the dowager's hump also. We're going to breathe in, belly big. Contract that belly button towards the spine, chin line with your chest, turn towards one side. So you're letting your thoracic spine do the work. Stay here, re-squeeze if you need to. I always need to. Breathe in, and then belly button tight, bring it back to the center, and release the squeezy shoulders, because sometimes we're holding it. I'm talking a little bit. You're really like engaged in the pose. That's good, because often where your pain is not where the problem. So sometimes low back pain is referred pain from the upper body. So we work both the upper and lower body. You know what? We're going to add a cat-cow in here in between. I'm going to move that block. Hands on the knees, hands on the shins. We're going to curve the spine to the back of the chair, the back of the room. So curve your spine. Have your chin be looking forward. What do I mean by that? Don't drop the chin towards the chest, in other words. Again, this is a back yoga class. We're trying not to accentuate the cervical and the low back curvature. Now slowly come back up to a tall posture. That's that you're going from a pelvic tilt to a neutral spine, which might be spicy. Go slower, okay? Beautiful. From here, we're going to hinge forward. So we're not trying to like drop the belly towards the floor or towards the front of the room. So we hinge like at the hips. So breathe in, belly big. I hope that makes sense. And now I take my elbows out and I hinge myself forward. So I guide myself a little bit. And again, I think about lengthening from my tailbone out of my pelvis, like there's a string on top of my head. So I'm just lengthening my spine to make it a little bit less crunchy scrunchy. Okay? Breathe in, belly big. Now come back to a tall seated posture. Very good. It's called mountain posture. We're going to go back and do cat pose again. But again, first breathe in, curve your spine, go to your comfort place here, okay? Nice curvy spine, or maybe not so nice. I'm feeling it here in my left hip today, definitely feeling it. And again, let's breathe in, and then slowly come back into neutral spine, tall seated mountain. So we go from that kind of curved in, tucked in tailbone to untucked, and then hinged forward. Hinge forward is our cow. Breathe in, belly big. Hinge forward. Here we go. Beautiful. Ooh, I'm hinging a little bit more. Feels okay in the spine too. Again, I'm thinking about like pulling my string pulling my hair to the top of the room. And if this doesn't feel good, you unhinge a little bit, come out of a place of discomfort into comfort. In fact, let's do that. Breathe in, belly big, come back to tall seated mountain. Beautiful. We're going to do cat-cow again for those of us that want to get down onto the hands and knees. And I'll show you the safe for back issues, cat-cow. But first, let's do side lateral flexion. So inhale, circle, sweep arms up. And then if you're in the chair or seated on the floor, hand can be beside you or maybe back behind you. I'll do the back behind you. And then inhale, reach, reach, reach. Wiggle those fingers a little bit. This is my pacemaker side, so this one doesn't stretch as much as the other. And then exhale, belly button tight. Lean that side body over. Woo! Again, I'm feeling lots of spice on this side, so I'm going to breathe right here. And then exhale, back to the center. Inhale, float it down. Little shoulder shrug here, slow shoulder shrug. Little lymphatic drainage when you do that. I feel a lot of fluids going down the back of my throat when I do this. So I'm really stimulating my lymphatic system. Let's do the inhale, circle, sweep arms again. We're going to do the other side though. Breathe in. Keep the other arm up. Again, hang on to the chair, maybe right here by the hip, maybe here, arm extended if you're on the floor, or back behind you. And again, inhale, reach. Very good. Exhale, lean that side body up and over. You're kind of stretching from that hip bone to your armpit bone. And again, stay here, breathe in. Exhale, come back on up. Woo, kind of spicy. And then inhale, float it down. You know what? I need to do a cat-cow right now. So curve to the back of the room just to kind of release that tension that happened in side lateral flexion. And then come back up to tall seated mountain. And then slowly hinge forward. You're doing this with me today. Woo, that's feeling better in those hip bones already. Come back to a neutral spine. All right, so the next one is cat-cow on the floor and then oppositional reach. And then, you know what, we're going to do locust, which means lying on our belly. Those of you that don't want to do that, you can be seated on the front part of the chair, grabbing the back of the chair. I'm just kind of prepping y'all for the next three postures. So let me move my yoga block, my strap out of the way. I told you before I used a blanket for my knees because one of the knees is kind of spicy, okay? And you know what? I never like a crooked yoga mat. That's just the weirdness in me, okay? So I always got to straighten my yoga mat before I get onto this. Okay, so I'm going to come onto my hands and knees. If you're doing the seated version, you're just doing the cat-cow we did before or taking a break. You can be on curly toes or curled toes. I do curled toes. Traditional cat-cow is the hands are underneath the shoulder. We don't do traditional in this class. We're going to walk the hands forward. This is part of the yin yoga, by the way, and spread them out like little starfish, okay? And maybe the knees a little wider, maybe the hands a little wider. That all works. My belly is hanging. It's soft to begin with. And I'm going to lower my behind. I'm going to try to. Towards my heels. Then I'm going to come and rest on my forearms. Now I'm already noticing maybe my arms need to be a little bit more apart. And then that allows me, if I scooch my elbows towards me just a little bit, to bring that behind even closer to my heels. It's not there yet. Maybe never get there. That's okay. It is what it is. So from here, Flowy Cat-Cow is eyes looking at the yoga mat. And you're going to breathe in through the nose and shift your nose up to your wrist. So shift forward, inhaling. Once your nose gets aligned with the wrist, you're going to contract your belly really strong. Take the forearms off the yoga mat. Shift a little bit more forward and curve your spine, contracted belly to the top of the room for the cats. And then start lowering your cat back towards your heels. Very good. Relax the belly. Inhale, drag your head, your nose forward. Once you get to wrist level, contract the belly, forearms off the yoga mat, shift a little forward, curve the spine to the top of the room. Again, Flowy Cat-Cow. Inhaling, drag it forward. Belly button tight. Exhale, curve the spine to the top of the room. So nice and slow. Match your movement with your breath. Again, inhale, drag it forward. Woo! Belly button tight. Come up onto those palms. Exhale, curve the spine. All right, come back to hands and knees, hands underneath the shoulders. We'll do oppositional reach. So I'm going to cue the floor version first. We're going to take one arm way out, kind of like we did for Flowy Cat Cow, and then the opposite foot on the ball of the foot, pressing that heel to the back of the room. Contract the belly button, lift the heel, woo, and lift the opposite arm, and wiggle, maybe. And then lower that arm and leg, and bring it back to the center. Now I'm going to show the chair version of this for those of you that are new and doing the chair version. So what you're going to do on the floor, you're going to do the other arm extended, other leg, and stay there. Those of us seated on the chair, you're away from the back of the chair. You're going to bend the elbow up and the opposite knee up. Now maybe a hand is underneath because you had some hip flexor pain. So you're going to reach and lengthen, flex that bottom foot. All right, and then bring it back to the center. Those of us on the yoga mat, let's do the opposite arm and leg extended out and bring it back to the center. Now I'm going to coordinate this with our breath, all right? So inhale, extend an opposite arm and leg outward, arm in the air. Exhale, bend that knee, lift the leg, lift the arm. Inhale, bring the arm and leg back on down. Exhale, back to the center. Now let's do the other side, extending that opposite arm and leg out, arm up in the air if you're seated. Belly button tight. Exhale, arm and leg up into the air. Opposite arm and leg, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Exhale, bring it down. Or inhale, bring it down, sorry. And exhale, back to the center. One more time each side. Inhaling, opposite arm and leg gets prepared. Exhale, lift the arm and leg up. Inhale, arm and leg down. Exhale, back to the center. One more time. Here we go. Opposite arm and leg get prepared. Extend them out. Exhale, belly button tight. Lift the leg, lift the arm. Inhale, arm and leg down. Exhale, back to the center. Beautiful. All right, next one is locust pose. It's also seated back bend. So again, you're near the edge of the chair and you're kind of hinged forward a little bit. You're going to grab either the back spokes of the chair or walk it up the back of the chair. So you're squeezing the upper back musculature. So it's a little different when you're doing this laying on your torso. Again, some folks want to do the seated version. You can actually do a standing version when your feet are parallel, interlacing the hands and bringing the hands away, but the chin is not looking up. It's aligned with the top of the shoulders. Those of us on the floor, come down to your torso. Ooh, my hips are really tight. I can feel that on this one. And I'm going to kind of hip walk my body forward because I was off my yoga mat. That actually feels kind of nice for the hip musculature. From here, this is a supported back bend. It's called Cobra. So this is a nice, safe place to be for those of us with back challenges, but this might be too much for some folks, okay? And so Locust is a more vigorous back bend with weight bearing. So what we're going to do is come down to our chest and bring one hand on the behind and the other hand on the other behind. You're clasping the hands and then bringing the hands up and off and up into the air. You're grabbing the back of the chair if you're seated. A little bit more vigorous is to lift the tops of the toes, the shins, the knees, lift the chest a little bit. Eyes looking down at the floor for your locust pose. Breathing in, breathing out. Again, inhaling and exhaling. Beautiful. From here, sit nice and tall in the chair. If you're here on your stomach, turn your head to the side, hands at the top of the yoga mat. Get a nice little neck stretch. Turn your head to the side if you're seated. And then bring the head to the center. And then switch sides. Turn your head to the other side. Again, if that's spicy, head turning side to side, top of the head, top of the forearms, or forehead can be on the hands if you're seated. Beautiful. All right, from here, if you're on the floor, hands underneath your shoulders, curl those toes, belly button tight, unbend your elbows, come up to all fours, and then we're going to come up to standing. And again, I told you before, I use the chair to come up off the floor to help me with my back challenges. So I'm coming up off the floor. And sometimes we can feel a little dizzy when we stand up. So feet a little wide, hands to heart center. Breathe in. Gaze at the floor, exhaling. Again, breathing in and exhaling. So we're going to do 2 standing postures today. We're going to do Warrior 2 and Tree Pose. Again, these are weight-bearing yoga postures that are great for easing back pain and building bones. So again, I'm using the chair, so I'm going to bring it here halfway in the center of my yoga mat, and let me see what that looks like in the camera there, because I want to show the chair versions of these, okay? So I have my block close by for tree. From here, for chair version, if you're standing, feet wide, step them out. If you're seated, come to the edge, bring that leg out to the side, scoot over to one side, firm feet into the floor, okay? All right, and your arms eventually be to this letter T, but let's do the standing one also. Again, the feet wide, and I lift a heel, turn a foot towards the short end of the yoga mat, bend that knee. And I go a little bit more because I've got the chair here, okay? So I'm noticing, is my foot aligned with my knee? Pretty much so, yeah. And then I'm going to do that shoulder shuffle here. And then go back to that letter W where we squeeze the upper body musculature. Keep the squeeze whether you're seated or standing. And there's a wrinkle down here on the floor. We don't like wrinkles. No, no, no. So we're pressing firm into the floor and pressing away. So we've got really active lower body musculature. Now we're going back to that letter W with the shoulders. And keep the squeeze and extend those arms out into the letter T. You should feel it here in the upper back. Woo! And in the feet, in the hips. I'm going to hang on to the wall. Again, you can hang on to the chair if you need to, if you're feeling a little wiggly here, because you're being very vigorous into the floor. And yeah, guess what? We got to stay here a little bit. Woo! Because we're doing that bone building in addition to contracting those big muscle groups. Again, squeezy shoulders, firm feet into the floor.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. And release. Shrug those shoulders. I'm going to mute whoever's on. Mute this because occasionally I have people come on. There we go. Mute that. All right, let me go back. Okay, we're going to do the other side. So you're going to bring your seated warrior over to the other side. And again, you brought your feet in with the other warrior and you're stepping your feet out for the other side. Lift the heel, turn the foot, bend the knee. Again, let's do the feet first this time. Or did we do it that way before? I don't know. Press firm into the floor and then spread the floor like you're like smoothing out that wrinkle with your feet. Press down and away. Now again, letter W, squeezy shoulders like we did at the beginning of class. Keep the shoulder squeeze and extend those arms out. Woo! Into a letter T. It should be vigorous. It should be firm. You can always hang on to the chair, hang on to the wall if it's close by. You're feeling a little bit of wiggliness here again. Press firm into the floor. Spread the floor. Smooth out that wrinkle. Squeezy shoulders. We're not going to stay here for long, but we're going to make it count. We got to be here about 30 seconds. Again, to enjoy the bone building benefit. Yay! Or maybe it's boo. I don't know. Again, if you need to come out of the pose, it's okay. Just know that, all right? Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Yay! It's almost over. I'm looking at the timer here on my clock. About 4 more seconds. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, woo! And 1, 0. Shake it out. Wiggle it out. Come back to your original position. Okay, tree pose. I'm going to show the standing one, and then I'll show the seated one. I use the chair or I use the wall because I'm wiggly, okay? So I step a foot out, lift the heel, turn the foot out to the side. So I got one knee one direction, one knee the other. Now, I tend to jet my hip when I do this, so I always try to kind of scooch it in to where the outside of my ankle is kind of lined up with my armpit. You know, I do have curves, that's fine, but I'm not like super jutting out, okay? And then I walk my foot in, and I'm hanging onto my chair here. Maybe this is your tree posture with the foot on the floor. It's fine because most of the weight is on the foot pointed forward. Arms can be up. I'm going to try to bring mine into the calf while y'all get that balance, the standing version. Because again, it's a weight bearing, it's a bone building. Those of us seated, you bring a yoga block way forward here, and I'm going to bring a foot onto the yoga block and bring that knee out to the side. And the other foot kind of in a line. Again, we're trying to really be weight bearing here. So seated, you can probably more easily do the arms out. But again, you got to press vigorously into that foot, get that benefit of the knee turned out, or maybe you hang on to the chair, do a little back bend in your tree posture. My foot's scooching forward because I'm on carpet here. Woo! Keep breathing. Keep firm feet into the floor or wherever you are, okay? And release. Woo! We're going to do the other side, but move around a little bit. And you move the block over to the other side. Bring that foot on the yoga block. And step the other foot out. Lift that heel. Turn that foot. Again, one knee one direction, one knee the other. Try not to jut the hip and come into your yoga posture. So sometimes what happens is you have that knee out to the side and it starts to travel to the front of the room. I encourage you, knee out to the side. Try not to have it on the knee joint, below or above the knee joint. Again, I'm going to have fingertips on the chair because I'm quite wiggly today. Or you can take this to the wall, hand on the wall. I like this version because I can bring my hand way up and then feel a little bit more balanced. So I have some dancing of the foot issues because I've had surgery. I've had some sprains. My feet were in steel-toed shoes for a long time when I was working on the job. So they're kind of like cramped, and I'm just trying to work them out here as I get a little bit older. And release. Yay. Okay. We're going to come back down to the floor. We're going to do block bridge. I know that's y'all's favorite, right? Those of you that have been to class before. Again, I'm going to use my chair to come down. We'll do block bridge, constructive rest posture. This is where you really want to get that yoga block and maybe get on the couch, do this if you're seated on the chair because this is quite yummy, okay? Okay, that's my version of yummy. First, we're in constructive rest posture, lying on that back. And then, again, if you need to make some little adjustments to lie on your back, please do so. Let's do notice pose first. Extend the legs. Again, you're on the back of the heels. Maybe you wiggle those feet, wiggle those hips, those shoulders a little bit. Notice what you notice here compared to the first time we did notice posture. It's another name for, what do they call this? Shavasana or final relaxation. There's other names for this too. All right, go ahead and bend the knees. You're away from the back of the chair if you're doing this. Hopefully your chair has a back to it to where you can push the block into the back of the chair and you press your low behind into the block. Now, those of us here lying on the floor are going to get the better benefit. We're going to walk the feet towards the behind. Lift your behind up either with your own muscular strength or, use your hand to guide it up. Slide that block underneath. And you kind of have to walk your shoulders away a little bit. Get it kind of nice and adjusted. And then you're going to bring a leg into the air and shake that leg. Let everything be relaxed in your abdominals, in your hips, in your back, and then shake it side to side. Again, if something's weird, you don't like it, you don't do it. Just know that, okay? Woo, shake, 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 wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then release that leg down slowly, slowly. Let's do the other one. Bring it up, and shake it. And wiggle it. Always think wiggling feels weird. And shake it again. All right, now maybe you want to do both. So bring the other leg and shake both legs. If you're seated on the floor, maybe you're stomping your feet and you're on the balls of the feet, shaking side to side. Whatever you can do to kind of get a little movement into the lower body. Shake, 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 wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Again, this is called block bridge posture. Bring one leg down. You feel that tingly energy maybe, yeah? Bring the other one down. You're going to press into the floor with your feet, press into your shoulders, raise up a little bit, bring that block out, roll your spine down. Notice what you notice. Let's go ahead and do the notice posture. Extend one leg, then the other. Kind of wiggle those hips, wiggle those feet. So I feel very connected to the floor here. So for some folks, this is okay place to be for the guided rest. For those of us with back challenges, maybe I feel better in the body if you bend the knees, the feet wide, and drop the knees in. Maybe wiggle those shoulders, hands resting on the belly or arms out to the side. Or some people put their legs on the seat of the chair to give it more traction for that low back. But whatever you're doing here, just get comfortable. We're going into the guided rest and relaxation portion of class. So again, I invite you to get comfortable, whatever that might mean for you today. Part 2 for reducing chronic pain is to do a guided rest practice. There's an extended one that happens every night here on Veterans Yoga Project, the Yoga Nidra. If you haven't done that yet, I invite you to do one of those classes. Wednesday night is a 30-minute class. All the other nights are, I think, 45 minutes, or maybe another 30-minute one, but I don't remember exactly when that is. So we're going to do the rotation of consciousness, or the body scan portion of a Yoga Nidra practice. So all you have to do is listen to my voice, okay? And when we go through different places of the body, I'll say something like right hand thumb. And you'll think in your brain, right hand thumb, and you'll bring all of your attention, all of your awareness in your mind to your right hand thumb. And then maybe you can imagine your right hand thumb. So this helps to lessen anxiety, helps to folks to sleep better at night. What else? There's some other things. Chronic pain. For me, it helped me lessen my chronic pain because we're going through the different places in the body. We're actively relaxing, releasing tension. So let's get started. Again, I invite you to get a little bit more comfortable. That might mean kind of wiggling those shoulders, extending an arm out. Maybe you've got an eye pillow or a towel. You can cover up your eyes if it's a bright room. Eyes closed, open, whatever's comfortable for you today. If you need to move around a little bit because you're not able to be still, that's okay too. Okay, just know that. All right, from here, let's breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. All right, let's bring all of our attention, all of our awareness into the right hand thumb. Again, you'll think right hand thumb. You'll bring all your attention to your right hand thumb. You'll imagine it. And then we're going to move swiftly through the body. Right hand thumb, index finger. Again, you're repeating index finger to yourself. Middle finger, right ring finger, pinky finger, right palm, wrist, right forearm, elbow, upper arm, right shoulder. Once again, just listen to my voice as we continue through the different places of our body, continuing with our right side chest, hip, right upper leg, knee, shin, top of the right foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, right pinky toe. Let's just be aware of everything on the right side of the body, just the right side. Notice what you notice or don't notice. Good. Let's shift all of our attention from the right side of the body over to the left side of the body, starting with that left hand thumb. Again, left hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, left pinky finger, left palm, wrist, forearm, left elbow, upper arm, left shoulder. Again, bringing all of your awareness only on that left side of the body. Continuing with the left side chest, hip, upper left leg, knee, shin, top of the left foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, left pinky toe. Again, notice everything on the left side of the body, just the left side. And if you need to move a little bit, please move or continue to work to being still. Now let's shift all of our attention to the right side of the body, just the right side, and then shift back to the left side. Just notice everything on that left side. Once again, shift over to the right side and the left side. And then both the right and the left side together. Good. Now, let's shift all of our attention to the back places of our body, starting with the back of the head, right shoulder, left shoulder, the top of the spine, the mid-spine, the low spine, the right hip, the left hip, the right buttock, the left buttock. Let's shift all of our attention to the back side of the right leg, right ankle, and then shift all of our attention to the back side of the left leg, left ankle. While we're still here in the back places of the body, notice feeling that sensation of support, whether you're seated on the chair, feet on the floor, or whether your body is resting on the couch, on the yoga mat. Notice that sensation of support, feeling grounded, feeling heavy and weighted into the surface that's supporting you. Good. Let's shift the attention now to the front places of the body, feeling very light in the arms. The arms are light, the legs are light, the neck, the face are light, as if you were floating up towards the sky. Let's contrast that to the back places of the body, feeling very weighted, very heavy. Good. And then shift it to the front places of the body, feeling very light, very feathery. Let's pay attention to the places in the front places of the body, starting with the forehead, the right ear, the left ear, the right eye, the left eye, the very top of the nose, the very tip of the nose, right nostril, left nostril, upper lip, lower lip, the chin, jawline, the front of the neck, the throat center. Notice the heart center and the navel center. Noticing, once again, the front places of the body, feeling light and feathery, and then the grounded, weighted places of the back side of the body. Good. From here, let's come back and notice our breath. Don't change it in any way. Just notice, what does it feel like here to breathe in? What does it feel like here to breathe out? Good. So I invite you to come back into the now, back into the present moment. So let's wiggle the fingers, kind of wiggle the toes, move the wrists, move the ankles, whether you're seated, whether you're lying on your back. If you've got those legs straight, let's go ahead and bend one knee, bend the other knee. Maybe you want to bend the knees into the chest and roll side to side. Now, if you're seated, have the knees be wide, and as you're, let's do some wide upper body circles. And if you're lying on your back, knees into the chest, knee circles. Again, just bring a little bit of movement back into the body. Now let's pause and go in the other direction. Very nice. From here, come back to the center. If you're lying on your back, go ahead and roll over onto your side body. Extend that leg, hand in front. Come up to a nice, tall, seated place. Everybody join me here with hands to heart center, chin towards the chest. It's kind of like in a recovery mode for coming up off the floor, because sometimes we can feel a little dizzy here. Yeah? And let's bring the chin to gaze forward. Let's bring the hands together. Let's do swimming dragon, shall we? We're going to breathe in, belly big, and contract the belly button. Push the hands one direction, turn the head the other. Just notice your range of motion in your neck and your shoulders. Inhaling, stay here. Exhale back to the center. Let's do the other side, but first, breathe in. Woo, exhale, push it the other way. Stay here, breathing in. Exhale back to the center. Very good. Release the hands. Let's kind of do that shoulder shuffle again. Just again, move some lymphatic fluids in our body. And we're going to do our gratitude practice. So again, hands can be together here at heart center or hands stacked at heart center. And just drop your chin towards your chest. And let's think about one thing that we're grateful for today, or maybe an idea of gratitude, yeah? Gratitude just showing up, that's great. Again, or something that you're grateful for today. And bring whatever that is, clasp it, grasp it, put it into your heart space just for a moment here. Feel a little appreciation, a little attitude of gratitude, as I like to call it. Very good. You can keep your chin towards your chest, or you can bring your chin back to its regular position, maybe eyes opened or closed. You get to choose here. And I'll say our traditional sayings to end our class and stop the recording. So here we go. Let's bring the peace, the strength, and the understanding, and that little attitude of gratitude, and let's pass it on. Namaste, which means the bright light in me honors and respects the bright light in you. This concludes our practice of gentle yoga for back care. I'm now going to stop the recording